Hello and welcome to Broadband Deployment News. So the FCC has another $300+ million they're getting ready to authorize for RDOF. We'll talk about that in just a minute. Thanks for joining me. Rick Uzzi here with Broadband Deployment News. The FCC has released a lot of money on RDOF recently. This is now going to be their 8th round of that. It's about 313 million or so, they say. I came up with 331 million when I added it all up. So maybe I made a mistake, or maybe they switched a number there. I don't know when they were putting out their press document here, but we'll see. So we're going to talk about this today. So you see here, FCC announces 313 million through World Digital Opportunity Fund. So this is the reverse auction that took place a few years back. This is money that's going directly to broadband operators, where they bid on how little money they would take in order to build out infrastructure in rural areas for broadband. And the FCC has now said that these are ready to authorize. And the difference there, ready to authorize means they've got 2 weeks now to get in 2 documents, basically. So they're right at the finish line. Their long form application has been looked at. It's been accepted. I'm sure they went back and forth on some of these and said, hey, you missed this thing, or you need to provide us with that. So long form applications have been accepted. Now all these people need to do that are ready to authorize is send in 2 things. One is their letters of credit, a letter of credit for each state, and then they need to have an outside legal counsel send a bankruptcy opinion letter that basically says that any letters of credit would not would not be considered their property if they do go into bankruptcy. So there's just those 2 little things that they need to get into the FCC. They've got 2 weeks to do that. The deadline is April 8th. And then once the FCC gets that stuff, there'll be another week or 2, and then the FCC will announce that these are now authorized. But really, when they get to this point, you pretty much can expect that they're going to get the money. I don't think anybody's going to want to default at this point, because for one thing, there's fines involved when you default, and they're this close to getting the funds. So unless something happens, this should be who we would anticipate getting all of this money here. So again, 313 million. And as usual, it was kind of hard to find the attachment A. So I'll link to this page. There's another page I think I'm going to link to that had the attachment A on it that has all the winners. And then, where you can download this form. And then I've gone through and I've summarized all this. I'm going to talk about it real quickly, but I've got a summary here of all this information, because this is the usual long list of line item by line item, which is each census block. So basically what these people do is they bid on a census block, and in that, or census block group, excuse me, and then in that census block group, there are a certain number of eligible census blocks that have locations that would qualify. In other words, they did not, there was a percentage that did not meet the definition of broadband for this. So those are the locations. So you've got your census block groups, and you can see there's one census block group for each bid that was put in. Then you've got the number of eligible census blocks in that census block group. Then you've got the number of locations in that census block group. And then you've got the winning bid total, and then the amount of support for the first year. And that's because these are broken out by 10 years. So for example, this first one gets $472 for their particular location here on this one census block, and that's over 10 years, so it's about $40,000 per year. And they have milestones that they have to hit on the third through the 10th year, but basically it's really 3rd through the 6th year that they have to hit these milestones. If I remember, it's 40%, and then I guess 20, 20, 20, something like that. But they have to hit the percentage of locations that have been served. So again, I've gone and summarized this, but as you look down it, you can see that you've got just a couple of locations here for Carolina Telephone and Telegraph, and then you got Central Telephone Company of Virginia. You got there's a lot of CenturyTel in here. Let me scroll down real quick. There you go, CenturyLink. So you got several CenturyLink locations: Louisiana, Alabama, Michigan, etc. And you can see the number of census block groups and census blocks and locations here. So again, I summarized that. I went through this so you don't have to, just to see who's getting what and where. So again, we've got Carolina Telephone and Telegraph. They're in North Carolina, so they only had 2 census block groups in this particular release here of money. I'm not sure if they've been on others, I can't remember. And in that is 22 eligible census blocks, and then there's 169 locations there. And the total money, $530,000, $376,000. And then I averaged that out by location because that's going to vary. And some of it's related to the bidding that was done, because you might have had a bunch of people bidding in an area, and that's going to drive the amount down. Unlike a normal auction where you drive the amount up, in a reverse auction you're driving the amount down, right? Because each person is bidding on how little support they will accept from the federal government. So maybe if nobody was bidding, you had a higher amount. If a lot of people were bidding, you got a lower amount. Or if there is a area that's considered high cost, then that would have a premium on top of it that was identified. So those could be the differences here. You can see here this particular one, 3,138, which is about the average we'll see. Then you've got Central Telephone Company of Virginia. That's in Virginia. 24 census block groups, 821 census blocks, and you can see 6,800 or so locations. So they got $12 million. They're getting about $1,800 per location when you average that out. You got Central Virginia Services. They had 99 census block groups. They couldn't make an even 100, so they had 99. 2,700 approximately census blocks, and over 28,000 locations, and you can see here 33 million, and they're at 1198 per location. CenturyLink of Louisiana. So this is just the one location in Louisiana. 24 census block groups there, 903 census block groups, 903 census blocks, 7,600 locations, 18 million and about 2,400 per location. Then you got CenturyTel. So they won a bunch of locations. You can see here in Alabama, Michigan, Montana, Arkansas, Washington, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. So big winner there at $143 million and about $3,100 per location that they're getting. So that means, and again, that's going to be divided by 10 as well. So that means approximately $313 per year per location. So they have to say, well, let's see, because they've got, some of these areas are harder to reach than others. They're all going to be probably, somewhat rural, obviously, since they don't have good broadband there already. So they're considering, well, it's going to cost me so much to get service there, and then they get this over 10 years, the support over 10 years. So again, they're about $313 approximately every year per location in that case. Then you've got Com Inc., and this is in Missouri. They won $14 million, and they're at $835 per location, so they don't get nearly as much as some of these others. Then you got Columbia Fiber, that's in Oregon. Only 2 census block groups there, 359 locations, but again, so they're getting almost $6,900, almost $7,000 per location that they get in that area, about $2 million total, $2.4 million. Embark in Florida, $5 million approximately, about $3,300 per location there. Jasper County Rural Electric Membership Cooperative or Corporation. So they bid on 4 census block groups, 47 census blocks, 262 locations, and they're getting about $1,000 per location. We got Ligtel in Indiana, only 3 census block groups, $385,000, and again, a little bit on the lower side, $928 per location. That's again over 10 years. So these guys, about $93 per year that they get. These guys about $83 per year that they're getting per location. Ozarks Go, that's in Arkansas, as you would expect, in Oklahoma. 78 census block groups, 8,288 locations, $10 million, and about $1,200 per location. Then you got Quest. I don't know if that's the same Quest that used to be around. That was a big backbone provider. I don't know, Quest Corporation. So they bid on quite a bit in several states. They had Idaho, Minnesota, Nebraska, Oregon, South Dakota. Looks like 69 million total and about 4,600 per location. So they did well there. South Central Connect, just in Arkansas, $20 million though. And $2,600 per location. So they were a big winner. And we had Spectra. They had just bid on one census block group in Missouri. That's 12 census blocks, 38 locations, and they're getting $275,000 and about $7,200 per location. So they are the winner as far as the amount per location. And again, why that is, I don't know. Is it that they were the only one bidding there and therefore the price did not get bid down? The amount of support did not get bid down? Don't know. It's probably rural, but I don't know if that would account for that. So it's probably that they were maybe the only bidder there. Then you have Tri-County Electric in Michigan, 354 locations, and they're getting about $1,440. We're getting $1,440 per location there. And then you can see the totals down here. And this is where I was saying I came up with 331 million when I added all of this up. And that's assuming that I extracted everything from the spreadsheet properly. So I don't know why that's a little bit more, unless if I didn't make a mistake, then maybe they transposed a couple of numbers there and got 313 instead of 331. And this is the average amount. So I just, rather than a total, this is the average amount per location. It's about $2,800. And that's about what I've been seeing as I've been looking at this. So again, this is money that should be coming out. April 8th is the deadline for them to get these last final pieces of paperwork into the FCC. Then it'll be a couple more weeks, and we'll probably see something that says these guys have been authorized, and they'll start getting their money. So the FCC is moving as quickly as they can through these applications. There's still some larger folks out there that have not been awarded something yet, including SpaceX with their Starlink service, so that it remains to be seen whether they're going to get any money. So I keep waiting to hear what's going to happen with that. And I am still waiting to hear. I need to try somebody else. I've been trying to find out what happens on these defaults. There's no defaults announced today, but when there's a default, what happens then, and how do they determine who's going to bid in that area if the person who won the bid defaulted? So I'm still trying to find that out. So thanks for joining me. If this was helpful, give me a like on the video, just a thumbs up there. If you're not subscribed, click the subscribe button. Click the little bell to be notified when I'm live. Thanks a lot. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.